Wait, did TLC actually stop filming at Christine's house because of disgusting conditions? What even happened? That was the exact question fans started asking. After a handful of behind-the-scenes leaks hit Reddit last week, viewers thought Season 20 of Sister Wives was moving full speed ahead, until multiple insiders claimed production suddenly froze filming at Christine and Mykelti's Utah home. And apparently, it wasn't just a technical delay. According to sources, TLC crews allegedly walked off set after discovering what they called unacceptable living conditions. Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is wild. There is a new rumor shaking up the Sister Wives world, and it is not about Kody and Robin this time. It is Christine and Mykelti who might be in hot water. The theory going around is that TLC quietly halted production after crew members raised concerns about how the property looked and what they found inside. But as usual, there is a lot more to this than what is being said online. So grab your coffee, because we're going to break down everything, what the leaks actually say, what TLC hasn't confirmed, and why fans think the disgusting conditions story might be covering up something even bigger. Let's get into it. So here is how this all supposedly went down. According to people claiming to have inside knowledge, including one former crew assistant who posted anonymously, production had been shooting at Christine's Utah home for several days. Things were normal at first: camera setups, casual kitchen shots, and Mykelti stopping by with Tony and the twins for some family catch-up footage. Then, on what should have been a short afternoon session, something changed. The story goes that a few crew members started complaining to the line producer about unworkable conditions. Nobody really explained what that meant, but within hours the cameras were packed up, the trucks were gone, and the location shoot was labeled on hold. Now, this is where fans started piecing together the timeline. Christine suddenly went quiet on social media for 3 full days, which, for her, is rare. Usually she is posting cooking reels, new baby pictures, or home renovation updates. Right about the same time, Mykelti and Tony stopped their Patreon live streams without warning. They later told subscribers they were dealing with family stuff that couldn't be discussed publicly. That gap created the perfect storm for speculation. People started asking themselves, was TLC really that disgusted by the home? Or did something else happen backstage that they didn't want viewers to see? Before long, one of the camera techs allegedly spilled that the disgusting conditions weren't about cleanliness. It was about what they walked into while setting up the shoot. Now, here is where things start to spiral. When the first Reddit thread popped up claiming that TLC actually halted filming over disgusting conditions, most people assumed it was over hygiene or a mess in the house. But according to follow-up posts from users claiming to know production staff, it wasn't just about clutter or cleanliness. Apparently, the crew walked into a scene they weren't expecting, and it wasn't something they felt comfortable filming. One source called the place visibly chaotic, with food and boxes scattered around due to recent remodeling. Others claimed it was more emotional than physical, that the home felt tense, like the people inside were in the middle of a serious argument right before cameras rolled. That tension allegedly came from Mykelti and Tony, who'd been staying over temporarily while doing some family filming for TLC. A neighbor told another fan page that there was a heated discussion the night before the crew arrived, and that when production came in early the next day, the energy was off. So when TLC's rep used the phrase, unworkable conditions, fans started to wonder if disgusting was more of a figure of speech, maybe describing how toxic the atmosphere felt that day. But here is where it gets interesting. Shortly after the rumor spread, Christine posted a smiling photo of herself outside the house with a caption about fresh starts and family first. A lot of fans thought that was her quiet way of shutting down the story. But if you read between the lines, it almost sounded like damage control, a way to show that everything was fine when clearly something had gone wrong behind the scenes. And just a day later, TLC's filming schedule for the Utah segment completely disappeared from their internal calendar. So what exactly did TLC see or hear that made them freeze filming? A few days after the filming pause, Mykelti and Tony tried to keep things normal. They showed up for one of their usual Patreon live streams, smiling and talking about their kids, answering questions, and pretending nothing was going on. But about 20 minutes into the live, Mykelti made a small comment that fans immediately picked up on, something that seemed innocent at first. But when clipped and shared on Reddit, it completely shifted the conversation. She said, "Yeah, TLC needed a break. They said they weren't comfortable filming here until everything gets sorted. Now, she didn't elaborate. She didn't say what needed to be sorted. But that one sentence confirmed two big things. TLC really did halt filming. So it wasn't just gossip. Whatever happened was serious enough for the crew to refuse to film until it was handled. From there, fans went into detective mode. One theory claimed that a small plumbing issue had caused water damage in part of the house, making it unsafe for filming equipment. Another argued it was all about emotional tension, that production didn't want to record while family members were openly fighting, but the most viral theory came from a user who said her cousin once worked with the same crew. According to her, TLC crews are trained to stop production if a scene starts crossing emotional or ethical boundaries, especially when children are nearby. That theory picked up steam fast, especially because Tony had been open about how stressful parenting twins can be. So was it that? Did something happen between the family that TLC didn't want on camera? When asked directly on Patreon, Mykelti laughed and said, "Let's just say it was a misunderstanding. Nobody's in trouble. But yeah, things were tense." That alone told fans more than she probably meant to share. Her tone changed for a moment too, the kind of nervous laugh people use when they've said too much. Tony quickly cut in, changed the subject, and reminded everyone that the next Patreon would be Q&A only, no show talk. But it was too late. Reddit threads blew up, and suddenly headlines started popping up across fan pages. TLC crew walks out after explosive argument at Christine's house. Of course, none of that was officially confirmed. But TLC's silence only made it worse. Normally, the network would issue a quick no comment or dismiss rumors through their media team. But this time, nothing. Total silence. And that's when viewers realized this might not just be a small hiccup in production. It could be the first sign of a much bigger rift inside the Brown family. Because if Christine and Mykelti, who were once seen as the most stable part of the post-Kody era, are now having behind the scenes issues bad enough to make TLC stop filming, then something serious is happening off camera. According to people close to the family, what happened that week wasn't just about the house. It was about the relationship between Christine and Mykelti. For months, fans have noticed little hints of friction. It started small, missed family dinners, awkward silences in YouTube lives, and a few clipped comments about parenting. At first, people brushed it off as normal mother-daughter stuff, but by the time filming started again in Utah, the energy between them reportedly wasn't the same. A production assistant told one outlet that Christine and Mykelti had been snapping at each other during rehearsed scenes. It wasn't shouting, but you could feel the strain. They were trying to keep it professional, the source said, but you could tell something personal was going on. Every little thing became an argument. How to set the table, what to cook, when to film. It was tense. And for a show like Sister Wives, where family togetherness is the brand, that tension doesn't translate well on camera. TLC might love drama, but they also have limits. They don't want anything that looks like a real emotional breakdown, especially when younger kids are around. That week, Mykelti and Tony had been filming a cooking segment with Christine. The idea was simple, 3 generations cooking together, but apparently, Christine was frustrated that Mykelti kept checking her phone and not following directions. Mykelti, on the other hand, felt like her mom was micromanaging every detail. It got awkward fast, and that's when one of the producers reportedly stepped in and called for a break. Normally, they would cool off and resume filming, but instead, the break never ended. Cameras went off, and production never returned that day. Now, to be fair, families argue that alone wouldn't stop a reality crew. But when crew members described the energy as hostile and uncomfortable, TLC's safety protocols kicked in. Reality crews are told to pause if they think filming could trigger a mental health issue or if anyone in the room feels unsafe, emotionally or physically. So TLC pulled the plug for the day, officially calling it a wellness hold. Internally, though, the memo apparently used the word disorderly. Fans only found out because a crew member's relative leaked the phrasing online. Once that word got out, people twisted it into disgusting conditions. It spread fast, partly because it sounded scandalous, and partly because people love to see cracks in the perfect image TLC sells. But behind the headline, it seems like what really happened was an emotional standoff, A normal family conflict that exploded at the worst possible moment. Christine's team later told a friend that she was heartbroken that things had been exaggerated online. Still, even she admitted in a Facebook comment that it's been a stressful month. And that stress might have come from more than filming. Sources close to production hinted that TLC had recently pushed Christine to take on more storylines, and Mykelti wasn't happy about how she was being portrayed. By the time season 20 started filming, though, TLC had a new plan. With Kody's story fading and Robin rarely appearing, the network needed a fresh angle, something emotional enough to keep fans watching but family-friendly enough to protect the brand. That's where Christine came in. Since her split with Kody, she'd become the fan favorite, independent, funny, and openly happy in her new life. Viewers loved her, so TLC decided to build a bigger arc around her transition into single life and her growing relationship with her kids, especially Mykelti. But according to people who've worked on the show, this kind of spotlight comes with strings attached. Producers reportedly asked Christine and Mykelti to recreate some of their old dynamic for the cameras. Moments where Christine gives motherly advice, Mykelti pushes back, and they resolve it in the end. It's a standard storyline formula, but it doesn't always fit real life. Behind the scenes, Mykelti didn't love it. She felt like the show was editing her to seem bratty or ungrateful, when in reality she and her mom had been getting along fine before producers started poking at old wounds. In one leaked message that circulated on fan pages, someone claiming to be close to the family said, Mykelti told her mom, "They just want us to fight. They don't care about us being happy." Christine, meanwhile, reportedly felt stuck. She wanted to protect her daughter, but also didn't want to lose her contract. TLC had offered her a significant pay bump for the Utah storyline, which included showcasing her home life, her relationship with David, and her evolving bond with the kids. So when the arguments started during filming, it wasn't just about clutter or stress, it was about pressure, the kind of emotional weight that builds when real family moments are being shaped to fit a television script. A former crew member told one YouTube gossip channel that you could tell they were uncomfortable performing for the cameras. The authenticity that made Christine likable started feeling forced. That's when the friction began. That tension came to a head during that kitchen shoot. Christine reportedly tried to follow the producer's cues, asking Mykelti a series of scripted questions about leaving old family patterns behind. Mykelti, already irritated, replied, "We've talked about this, Mom. Not everything has to be filmed." That single moment apparently set the tone for the rest of the day. Cold silence, awkward pauses, and frustration from both sides. Eventually, one of the producers called a time out, and that's when things unraveled. TLC's higher-ups saw the incident as a red flag. According to leaks, the production office sent an email that evening recommending a full review of on-site dynamics before resuming filming. It wasn't punishment, more like damage control. But for fans, that memo became the seed of the halted filming rumor that grew into a viral firestorm. So, while the internet claimed disgusting conditions, what TLC was actually facing was a much more sensitive issue, a family relationship cracking under the weight of a reality show contract. Once rumors about the halted filming started trending, TLC moved fast, just not publicly. The network didn't issue an official statement, but insiders say they immediately activated their internal PR team, the same group that usually handles Kody-related scandals. Their first move was to get ahead of the narrative by minimizing the story to fan blogs. A few of those smaller outlets suddenly started posting identical blurbs. Sources close to production deny any major issue and confirm filming will resume soon. That was TLC's doing. Instead of addressing the disgusting conditions line head on, they tried to drown it out by feeding safer explanations to low-level gossip accounts, things like creative scheduling conflicts or weather-related delays. It's a common strategy in reality television. You release a few small, harmless versions of the story, so the wilder theories lose traction. But this time, it backfired. Fans weren't buying it, mostly because Christine's silence was too noticeable. Normally, she's quick to shut down fake rumors, but she avoided the topic completely. Even her fiancé, David, who's usually chatty on Instagram, stayed quiet. That silence only fueled the fire. Then, there was the Mykelti problem. even though TLC told all cast members to avoid addressing production matters. Mykelti kept talking indirectly, but enough to make fans connect the dots. She liked several comments on Instagram that mentioned TLC treating the family unfairly, and even responded to one saying, "It's complicated, but we'll be back soon." For a network that carefully manages image, that kind of slip-up was disastrous. Within hours, multiple entertainment blogs ran headlines like, "Mykelti confirms sister wives filming halted amid complicated family situation." At that point, TLC couldn't just ignore it. A producer allegedly reached out to Christine's camp and asked her to post something that would calm fans. Not a denial, but something light and vague. That's when Christine uploaded that sunny Instagram photo of her standing in the yard, writing about taking a breather and loving my space. On the surface, it looked wholesome, but longtime fans noticed that the caption's wording, "Everyone needs a little reset now and then," felt eerily similar to TLC's PR language. The more TLC tried to smooth it over, the more obvious it became that something wasn't right. By the end of that week, the story had taken on a life of its own. Reddit threads were filled with theories about what the crew had seen. YouTube channels were dissecting Mykelti's every post, and even mainstream entertainment sites started sniffing around for confirmation. Instead of calming the chaos, TLC's silence turned the rumor into a full-blown mystery, one that fans were determined to solve on their own. And as usual with the Sister Wives universe, when fans can't find answers, they start creating their own. Once the story of halted filming spread, fans wasted no time piecing together the puzzle. Social media sleuths began comparing timestamps, Instagram posts, and Patreon live streams to see if anything didn't line up with TLC's official narrative. The first red flag came from Mykelti herself. Fans noticed that she had uploaded a casual story showing the twins playing in the backyard on the very day TLC claimed production had paused for safety reasons. In the clip, she joked about trying to keep the chaos under control, laughing in a way that suggested things weren't physically unsafe, just tense. Next, viewers looked at Christine's posts. Her morning coffee photo, taken the same day, showed a perfectly clean kitchen. Not a box, not a dish out of place. That conflicted with the disgusting conditions rumor entirely. People started wondering if the crew left because of dirt or mess. Why did Christine's home look spotless in real life? Then came the livestream clues. Fans realized the day TLC allegedly halted filming was the same day Mykelti briefly referenced the reset without naming the show. That casual remark, paired with Christine's cryptic captions, suggested the halt wasn't about sanitation at all. That's when speculation shifted. Reddit threads exploded with theories. Maybe the pause was about emotional conflict, a heated family disagreement, or a refusal to follow the producer's scripted instructions. Others suggested it could have been a combination of both. Some hardcore investigators went further, cross-referencing filming permits with local records. According to these posts, TLC had filed no new permits for additional shooting days at Christine's property immediately after the alleged halt. That was unusual for the show, where permits are typically renewed quickly to avoid production delays. By the end of the weekend, the consensus among fans was clear. TLC's disgusting conditions explanation didn't hold water. Something else, something involving family dynamics, producer interference, or both, had triggered the pause. And it wasn't just online chatter. Smaller gossip blogs, sensing an opportunity, started framing the halt as part of a behind-the-scenes meltdown, adding fuel to the fire. Clips of Mykelti's Patreon comments, Christine's Instagram captions, and even a few vague TLC statements were stitched together to paint a narrative that reality television insiders called plausible but sensationalized. What this ultimately showed was one thing: in the Sister Wives world, the cameras capture only a fraction of what actually happens. Production schedules, personal conflicts, and PR strategies all intersect. And when fans start connecting the dots themselves, the real story often looks very different from the official version. It became obvious that TLC had underestimated how sharp and persistent their fanbase could be. Here's where things get even more interesting. A crew member, speaking anonymously to a fan blog, revealed details that explain why TLC actually halted filming at Christine and Mykelti's home. And it's not at all what the disgusting conditions rumor suggested. According to this insider, the issue was primarily emotional and logistical. They said that the family, especially Mykelti and Christine, were experiencing high tension that day, stemming from ongoing disagreements over how much of their personal lives should be shown. It wasn't a mess problem, the source emphasized. It was a human problem. People were upset, frustrated, and some were snapping at each other. The energy in the house was off the charts. Cameras can't just keep rolling in that environment. It's unsafe for everyone, including the kids. The insider added that the production team tried multiple strategies to diffuse the tension. Producers attempted to schedule breaks, separate filming spaces, and even redirect scenes, but nothing seemed to work. According to them, Mykelti was visibly annoyed at being asked to stage interactions for the camera, while Christine felt caught between her daughter and the production demands. The crew member went further, explaining that in reality television, emotional authenticity is the key to filming, but when emotions tip over into real conflict, it creates a scenario that cannot be ethically captured. We can't ask people to pretend they're happy when they're not, especially when children are present. That's when the stop button gets hit. Interestingly, this insider also suggested that some of the tension was exacerbated by TLC's attempts to orchestrate specific storylines. They want family drama, but they also want it to look polished. It's a weird balance. Christine and Mykelti weren't willing to perform like puppets that day, and the cameras couldn't roll under those conditions. Fans began to piece together what this meant. The halt wasn't about cleanliness, plumbing, or furniture. It was about human boundaries. TLC had reached a point where they had to intervene to protect both the family and the integrity of the shoot. This insider's account aligns with what viewers had noticed online: Christine's clean kitchen posts, Mykelti's casual TikTok clips, and the vague social media statements about resets. None of it hinted at anything physically disgusting, but the tension was palpable. So why did the rumor turn into disgusting conditions? According to the insider, it was a classic case of misunderstanding and exaggeration. Someone in the production office used the term internally to describe chaotic energy in a memo. That language got leaked, misinterpreted, and ultimately sensationalized across social media. What's critical here is that it reveals the complexity of filming reality television. Behind the glossy edits and story arcs lies a delicate dance of family emotions, producer expectations, and ethical limits. And when that balance tips too far, filming halts, even for stars as beloved and professional as Christine and Mykelti. Fans of Sister Wives are nothing if not observant, and once the disgusting conditions story hit social media, theories about why TLC might have exaggerated, it began circulating almost immediately. One popular theory is that the network wanted to create suspense, or even a minor scandal without actually putting anyone in danger. By using a phrase like disgusting conditions, TLC could make viewers curious and keep attention on Christine and Mykelti without having to fabricate an entire argument or conflict. As one Reddit user put it sounds crazy, but it's classic reality television. Make it dramatic, but safe. Another idea is that the exaggeration served to highlight Christine's role in the family. Fans have long admired her independence and ability to maintain calm under pressure. By portraying the halt as a crisis that she managed with grace, TLC could subtly reinforce her image as the strong matriarch, even in post-Kody life. Some viewers also suspect it was a way to protect Mykelti. If the public had known the true reason, intense tension over creative control and producer interference, it could have painted her in a negative light, as someone difficult to work with. Using the vague, disgusting conditions label allowed TLC to cover the emotional story without naming names. A smaller but persistent theory involves timing. This filming halt coincided with the promotional rollout for the season. Fans noticed that social media posts about Christine's lifestyle, the twins, and her home were carefully curated to distract from the actual event. According to online sleuths, this timing wasn't accidental. It was a coordinated PR strategy to keep viewers focused on positive content, while TLC handled the behind-the-scenes complications. Even the media itself played a role. Smaller entertainment outlets, desperate for clicks, amplified the original rumor without verifying details. The phrase "disgusting conditions" quickly became a headline, even though production insiders described it as a pause for emotional and logistical reasons. What's fascinating is how the fan theories echo the patterns of reality television storytelling. Viewers are conditioned to look for drama, tension, and moral stakes. TLC, whether intentionally or not, fed into that expectation by leaving the phrasing ambiguous. The network didn't outright lie, they simply leaned into the way fans consume stories, knowing speculation would do the rest. By doing this, TLC managed to create a viral moment without risking safety or legal issues. The story spread rapidly, driving attention to Christine and Mykelti's home segments, and reinforcing engagement across social media and YouTube. Every post, every clip, every reaction was now amplified because of the ambiguity. And let's be honest, it worked. Within days, hashtags about the filming halt were trending, Patreon discussions were full, and YouTube videos analyzing the situation began racking up views. Fans dissected every Instagram story, every comment, every subtle gesture in a way that made the original rumor feel even more dramatic. So while some viewers still believe the home conditions were genuinely problematic, the evidence suggests that TLC's phrasing was carefully chosen to maximize attention while minimizing actual risk. In other words, this wasn't about a messy kitchen or cluttered living room. It was about control, perception, and the way reality television turns even minor incidents into viral events. Once the filming pause became public knowledge, the impact on Christine and Mykelti's relationship was immediately noticeable, at least to fans who follow every post and live stream. Sources close to the family said that the day of the halt, both Christine and Mykelti spent hours talking privately. It wasn't an argument in the traditional sense, but more of a reset conversation. They reportedly discussed boundaries, what they were comfortable showing on camera, and how much TLC could influence their storylines. One insider said they realized things were getting out of hand and needed to set the rules before it escalated further. After that discussion, Mykelti's tone on social media shifted subtly. She became more cautious with posts and livestream commentary, avoiding any direct mention of production conflicts. Christine also changed her approach, emphasizing family togetherness and positivity in her posts, a deliberate move to maintain control over public perception. Fans who closely monitor their interactions noticed another subtle change. The dynamic between mother and daughter felt more deliberate. Where previously they had playful banter or casual disagreements, their conversations began to appear more moderated. Every word, every reaction seemed measured, like they were aware of potential camera angles and how clips might be edited. Interestingly, this pause also gave both women time to reflect on their personal priorities. Behind the scenes, Mykelti reportedly expressed frustration at the constant pressure of reality television. She wanted more authenticity and less performance. Christine, meanwhile, seemed determined to protect her daughter while also balancing contractual obligations. This mutual understanding may have strengthened their bond, even amid tension. However, insiders warned that the halt exposed vulnerabilities in the family structure. The Brown family is already complicated, and this incident demonstrated how external pressures from production, PR teams, and social media expectations can exacerbate minor disagreements into major storylines. It also highlighted the delicate balance Christine and Mykelti must maintain, staying true to themselves while navigating the demands of a national television show. Fans also speculated that TLC would use this moment in future episodes to create narrative tension. Reality television often turns behind, the scene struggles into story arcs, and a pause caused by emotional strain is perfect material for editors. Clips of hesitant conversations, silent moments, or subtle frustration could easily be reshaped into a family drama storyline without fabricating anything. Overall, the halt marked a turning point. Christine and Mykelti had to reconcile their real-life emotions with the expectations of reality television. While it created immediate tension, it also fostered a new level of awareness about boundaries, privacy, and how far they were willing to let cameras into their home and lives. This moment may seem minor to casual viewers, but for those who follow the Browns closely, it was a clear signal. Even the most composed members of the family are not immune to the pressures of production, and small conflicts can escalate when mixed with network oversight and fan speculation. After the halt and the subsequent leaks, fans of Sister Wives went into overdrive. Social media erupted with speculation, video analyses, and theory threads dissecting every Instagram story, TikTok clip, and Patreon livestream from Christine and Mykelti. One of the most interesting aspects of this reaction was how quickly fans began separating fact from rumor. Some accepted TLC's vague messaging at face value, assuming the disgusting conditions were literal. Others dug deeper, comparing posts, timestamps, and historical patterns in filming to challenge the official narrative. Reddit, YouTube, and Instagram became crowded with fan detectives, trying to reconstruct the day filming stopped, often pointing out inconsistencies that the network didn't address. Another recurring theme was concern for the children. Fans noticed how the pause coincided with segments involving the twins and Mykelti's young children. Many speculated that TLC's decision to halt filming may have been partly motivated by child welfare concerns. One Reddit user commented, "If the energy in that house was tense enough to upset the kids, I understand why they stopped filming. Better safe than sorry." Fans also began analyzing Christine and Mykelti's body language during live streams. Observers pointed out moments of hesitation, awkward pauses, or subtle sighs that hinted at lingering tension. Even small gestures, like Mykelti adjusting the camera or Christine carefully framing a shot, were scrutinized as possible evidence of post-halt stress. Interestingly, this incident highlighted the audience's indirect power over reality television production. Fans weren't just passive viewers; their attention, speculation, and commentary shaped the narrative. Online discussions forced TLC to consider public perception while handling the halt quietly. Some theorists suggested that the network exaggerated the disgusting conditions story precisely because they knew fans would fill in the gaps, effectively letting the audience co-author the drama. This cycle, fans scrutinizing, speculating, and sharing, also amplified engagement across platforms. Videos dissecting the halt, Instagram stories highlighting subtle changes, and even podcasts discussing the situation collectively increased awareness and interest in Christine and Mykelti's storyline. The more intense the audience reaction, the more attention TLC's overall programming received, creating a feedback loop that benefits the network. Ultimately, fan reactions showed how closely viewers follow sister wives, and how invested they are in the personal and professional lives of the family. They don't just watch for entertainment, they actively participate in analyzing, theorizing, and even influencing how the show is perceived. In other words, TLC's narrative control is never absolute. Fans will always interpret, reframe, and sometimes correct the story themselves, which is exactly what happened with the halted filming incident. The filming halt at Christine and Mykelti's home didn't just affect one day of production. It sent ripples through the entire season's planning. Sources inside the industry say that when a network pauses filming, even temporarily, it creates logistical headaches, budget adjustments, and narrative shifts. For TLC, this incident was a reminder of how delicate reality television production can be. Every schedule is packed, camera crews, editors, on-screen talent, and crew members all have to coordinate across multiple locations. A single day of halted filming means rescheduling crews, revising storylines, and sometimes rewriting segments to account for missing footage. But beyond logistics, there's the creative strategy. Reality shows like Sister Wives rely on consistent story arcs, escalating tension, resolutions, and climactic family moments. A pause due to emotional or interpersonal issues disrupts that rhythm. Producers reportedly had to reevaluate upcoming scenes, deciding whether to edit around the halted day or reshoot certain interactions later. Fans may not see it, but a halted day can also shift narrative focus. In this case, TLC could choose to highlight Christine's calm handling of the situation, or they might spin it to increase tension between mother and daughter, a technique they've used in past seasons to boost engagement. Editors have a lot of power to frame the story, and a single pause provides material that can be shaped to fit multiple angles. Additionally, insider sources suggest that TLC may become more cautious with filming locations moving forward. If tension or unworkable conditions could halt production once, producers might limit shoots to spaces that are more controlled, predictable, or staged. That could affect how fans see the Browns' homes in day-to-day life in upcoming episodes. The network's reputation is also at stake. Fans are quick to spot discrepancies between social media posts and on-camera portrayals. As we've already seen, TLC must balance authenticity with control. If they overreact or exaggerate incidents, fans might accuse the show of manipulation. If they underplay serious conflicts, they risk safety or credibility issues. Finally, this incident has implications for the family dynamic on camera. Christine and Mykelti, now acutely aware of the consequences of visible tension, might moderate their interactions going forward. That self-awareness could reduce authentic conflict, which paradoxically makes storytelling harder for the network. TLC thrives on genuine moments, but genuine moments are unpredictable and sometimes unfilmable. In short, the halted filming day wasn't just a minor hiccup, it was a critical moment that exposed how reality, narrative, and network strategy collide. It's a reminder that Sister Wives is more than a family show. It's a high-stakes production balancing real emotions, storytelling, and audience expectations. So, what does all of this really tell us about Christine, Mykelti, and TLC? First, the halted filming at their home wasn't about dirt, clutter, or hygiene. It was about people, emotions, boundaries, and the pressures of living life under constant cameras. Crew members, producers, and insiders all point to tension, miscommunication, and the need to protect the children as the driving forces behind the pause. That disgusting conditions headline, purely a misinterpretation of internal language that got blown up across social media. Second, this incident highlights the delicate balance between reality and narrative. TLC wants engaging content, but they also have a responsibility to protect their cast. When a family member refuses to perform scripted behaviors or when emotions tip into genuine conflict, the network must step in, not as a punishment, but as a safeguard. Fans, meanwhile, proved their power. By analyzing Instagram stories, live streams, and social media interactions, they effectively became co-authors of the story. Their speculation forced TLC to carefully navigate both production and public perception. Without the audience, the incident might have been quietly resolved, but fan attention amplified it into a viral moment. For Christine and Mykelti, the halt was a wake-up call. They had to confront how outside pressures influence their interactions and decide where boundaries lie. It also reinforced the importance of clear communication and emotional awareness, not just for their own well-being, but for the children and the integrity of the filming process. Looking ahead, this moment could shape the rest of the season. Editors may choose to highlight subtle tensions, careful interactions, or even the family's proactive steps to handle stress. It could become a storyline in itself, showing viewers that even well-loved and composed members of the Brown family are human, capable of conflict, and forced to navigate the complicated intersection of life and reality television. Finally, the story underscores a broader truth about reality television. What viewers see is only part of the picture. Behind every shot, every scene, and every edited episode lies a complex network of emotional realities, production, decisions, and ethical considerations. In fact, sometimes one day of stalled filming will tell you more about family dynamics, network strategy, and fan engagement than weeks of scripted content. So yes, Sister Wives fans, the halt at Christine and Mykelti's home was a big deal. But it is also a fascinating glimpse into how reality storytelling and audience perception collide. And if nothing else, it is yet another reminder that behind every polished scene, an actual family tries to live life under an extraordinary spotlight.